you, and they said, "Open it." My beloved child, don't skip, because what you are about to hear was never meant to reach your ears this soon. The person you love couldn't keep everything locked inside anymore. They found someone they deeply trusted and finally spoke your name. At first, their voice was steady, but then something changed. There was a long silence before they admitted what had been hidden in their heart for far too long. The person listening didn't interrupt. They simply smiled and said, "If this feeling is real, don't let fear steal what destiny is trying to place in your hands." Those words didn't leave the room, they stayed in the heart of the one you love, and from that very moment, their thoughts about you became impossible to ignore. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Hours passed, but those words echoed louder and louder. Every memory, every conversation, every moment they almost reached out came rushing back at once. They realized there was one truth they could no longer escape. The connection they feel with you isn't something they can replace or pretend never existed. Yet there is still one unanswered question standing between the two of you, and it is much bigger than either of you expected. That question has already begun changing everything behind the scenes. Don't skip. Because the next revelation explains why certain events suddenly started unfolding in a way that even they didn't expect. Right now, while you are listening, emotions are shifting in ways that cannot be seen with ordinary eyes. Someone close to them has quietly noticed this change and is preparing to reveal something that could reshape the entire story. They believe a moment is approaching that neither of you will ever forget. But before that moment arrives, one final realization must come into the light. And when it does, you will understand why this conversation happened exactly when it did. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. There is something you still don't know. After that conversation ended, the person you love didn't walk away with certainty, they walked away with questions that refused to leave their mind. Every ordinary moment suddenly reminded them of you. They replayed old memories, searching for signs they had overlooked. Then the same trusted person looked at them once more and quietly said, "Some people spend a lifetime waiting for a sign. Maybe you've already been given yours." Those words landed differently this time. They didn't create pressure, they created clarity. Don't skip, because what happened next made everything feel completely different. Later that day, something unexpected caught their attention. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was one simple moment that reminded them of the bond they had been trying to understand. Instead of ignoring it, they paused. For the first time in a long while, they allowed themselves to imagine what life would look like if they stopped running from what their heart had been whispering. The future suddenly seemed less confusing and more possible. Yet another surprise was already waiting around the corner. One that neither they nor the person they spoke with could have predicted. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Before the day came to an end, they made a quiet promise to themselves. They would no longer let uncertainty make every decision for them. The conversation about you had awakened something they could no longer silence. But what they discovered only moments later completely changed the direction of their thoughts, and it connected to you in a way that felt almost impossible to explain. The next moment became the beginning of a story neither of you saw coming, and that's where everything truly starts. Don't skip, because the biggest revelation is still ahead. A new day arrived, but their heart was already carrying yesterday's conversation. They tried to focus on everything else, yet your name kept returning to their thoughts without warning. Then someone unexpectedly asked them a simple question: if you had one chance to say everything you've been hiding, would you take it? They didn't answer immediately. That silence revealed more than words ever could. In that moment, they realized they had been protecting themselves for so long that they almost missed what truly mattered. Don't skip. Because the next few moments changed the direction of everything. As the hours passed, another unexpected detail appeared. A memory they thought had faded suddenly felt brighter than ever, reminding them of a promise they had quietly made inside their own heart. They began to understand that some connections don't disappear just because time moves forward. Instead, they grow stronger when they are finally acknowledged. The person who had listened to them before noticed this change and smiled, saying, "Sometimes the answer isn't waiting somewhere else, it's been waiting inside you all along." Those words unlocked something they could no longer ignore. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Now they stand at the edge of a decision they never imagined they would face. One choice could keep everything exactly as it is. The other could open a completely new chapter they have secretly hoped for. But before that choice is made, an unexpected message, a surprising realization, and one final conversation are about to collide in a way that will leave them speechless. What happens next is the moment this entire story has been leading toward, and nothing after it will feel the same. Don't skip, because the biggest revelation is closer than ever. Everything became even more unexpected after that. The person you love finally understood that every conversation, every memory, and every unanswered feeling had been leading to this exact moment. They stopped asking themselves, "What if?" and started wondering, "What happens if I finally move forward?" That single change in perspective brought a calm they hadn't felt in a long time. Then the person they trusted said something that completely caught them off guard: "The story isn't ending, it's only now beginning." Those words stayed with them, and they knew they could no longer ignore what their heart had been quietly holding. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Not long after, another unexpected moment unfolded. A small reminder connected everything together so perfectly that it almost felt impossible to dismiss. Suddenly, the doubts that once looked so powerful began to fade. Hope replaced hesitation, and confidence slowly replaced uncertainty. They realized that some people enter your life for a reason that becomes clear only when the timing is right. But before they take their next step, one final piece of the puzzle is about to appear, and it changes the meaning of everything you've heard so far. Don't skip, because the greatest surprise has not been revealed yet. Right now, while this story continues, the distance between unanswered questions and long-awaited clarity is becoming smaller than ever. The person you love is closer than they have ever been to making a choice that could reshape everything ahead. Yet the most unforgettable moment is still waiting just beyond this point. When it arrives, every hidden clue, every quiet feeling, and every unexpected conversation will finally make sense together. Stay till the end, because what comes next is the revelation this entire journey has been preparing for. The moment they had been avoiding finally arrived. There was no crowd, no dramatic scene, only a quiet realization that refused to be ignored. The person you love understood that every time they tried to push their feelings aside, those feelings only returned stronger. Then they remembered one sentence from that unforgettable conversation: "The truth has a way of finding its voice." Those words stayed with them, and for the first time, they stopped questioning what their heart had been trying to tell them all along. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you. As the day unfolded, unexpected pieces began fitting together. Little moments that once seemed meaningless suddenly carried a new meaning. They realized the conversation about you had changed more than their thoughts. It had changed the way they looked at tomorrow. Instead of focusing on uncertainty, they started imagining new possibilities. Yet just when everything seemed clear, one final surprise appeared, leaving them completely speechless. It wasn't something they expected, but it answered a question they had secretly carried for a long time. Stay till the end, because the biggest turning point is closer than ever. Now the story stands on the edge of its most important chapter. The person you love knows they cannot keep pretending nothing has changed. Their next decision will shape everything that follows, but before that step is taken, one last hidden truth is about to come into the light. When it does, every conversation, every memory, and every emotion you've heard throughout this journey will finally connect in a way that no one saw coming. Don't skip, because the final revelation is almost here. A quiet shift happened when no one else was watching. The person you love stopped looking for signs outside and finally listened to what had been growing inside their own heart. Every doubt that once felt so convincing suddenly seemed much smaller. They remembered the conversation that started it all and realized it hadn't given them answers, it had given them the courage to face the truth. In that silent moment, they whispered to themselves, "I can't keep pretending this doesn't matter anymore." Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. As evening arrived, everything felt different. The future no longer looked like a closed door but like a path waiting to be explored. They understood that fear had delayed many things, but it didn't have to decide what happened next. One unexpected reminder brought a genuine smile to their face, and for the first time in a long while, hope felt stronger than hesitation. They knew that some moments only make sense after every piece has fallen into place, and they believed that moment was getting closer than ever. Stay till the end, because the biggest surprise is almost here. Now only one final chapter remains. The conversation about you has transformed into a decision they can no longer postpone. The hidden emotions, the quiet reflections, and every unexpected turn have led to this point. What they are about to realize next doesn't just answer old questions, it opens the door to an entirely new beginning. And when that final truth is revealed, you'll understand why this journey unfolded exactly the way it did. Don't skip, because the ending changes everything. The final moment arrived more quietly than anyone expected. There were no perfect words, no dramatic scene, only complete honesty. The person you love finally accepted that every conversation, every unexpected reminder, and every unanswered question had been guiding them toward one simple truth: some connections become stronger the more sincerely they are understood. The words they heard about you never faded. Instead, they became the reason they stopped hiding from their own heart. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you. Then everything finally made sense. The memories that once felt confusing now fit together like pieces of a puzzle. They understood that timing had been preparing them, not delaying them. The trusted person who first listened to them smiled one last time and quietly said, "When your heart becomes clear, your next step becomes clear too." Those words stayed with them, filling them with a confidence they had never felt before. The uncertainty that once controlled every decision slowly disappeared, replaced by hope, peace, and the courage to embrace what truly mattered. And this is where your story meets theirs. The conversation that began with uncertainty ended with clarity, reminding us that honest feelings often reveal themselves when we least expect them. Whatever comes next will be built on understanding instead of fear, and that alone changes everything. If you've stayed until this moment, remember this. Sometimes the biggest turning points don't begin with loud announcements, they begin with one honest conversation that changes a heart forever. Something huge was waiting for you all along, and now you know why. My beloved child, before this story closes, there is one final truth you deserve to hear. The person you love didn't just talk about you, they walked away carrying a different heart than the one they had before that conversation. They realized that some people leave temporary memories, but others leave lasting change. Your name became one of those lasting changes. Every step they take from this point forward is shaped by what they finally understood. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. As they looked back on everything that happened, they no longer focused on the moments of confusion. Instead, they saw how every delay had taught them patience, every silence had taught them reflection, and every conversation had prepared them for a clearer future. The trusted voice that listened from the beginning left them with one final reminder: the greatest journeys don't begin when everything is perfect, they begin when your heart is finally ready. Those words became the quiet strength they needed to move ahead without looking back. Now this chapter reaches its end, but the story itself is only opening a new door. The conversation about you became more than a discussion, it became the turning point that reshaped how the person you love sees tomorrow. Sometimes the most powerful moments are the ones that happen quietly, changing everything from the inside before the world notices. And perhaps that is the greatest revelation of all: the biggest changes often begin with a single conversation. And one heart finally choosing to be honest. Stay till the end, because the greatest chapters are still waiting to be written. My beloved child, if you've stayed with this story until now, there's one final piece that brings everything together. Long after that conversation ended, the person you love realized it wasn't the advice they remembered most, it was the feeling of relief that came from finally speaking honestly. For so long, they had carried questions in silence, but the moment they shared your name, that silence began to lose its power. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The days that followed didn't erase every uncertainty, but they changed the way your story was seen. Instead of wondering whether the connection mattered, they began appreciating the impact it had already made on their life. They discovered that meaningful relationships are not measured by perfect timing or flawless moments, but by the way they inspire growth, understanding, and hope. That realization became the quiet turning point they had been searching for all along. Stay till the end, because the final truth is closer than ever. And here is the lasting message of this journey: one honest conversation can change the direction of a heart, even if the outcome is still unfolding. The person you love walked away with greater clarity, deeper appreciation, and the courage to face tomorrow with sincerity. As this chapter closes, remember that every meaningful story continues one choice at a time. Sometimes the biggest revelation isn't hidden in dramatic moments, it's found in the quiet decision to be genuine, to value what matters, and to keep moving forward with hope. My beloved child, this is where every unanswered moment finally connects. The person you love now understands that the conversation about you was never an accident. It became the moment that changed the way they viewed everything that came before it. They stopped searching for perfect answers and started trusting the quiet lessons their heart had been learning all along. Looking back, they realized that every pause, every memory, and every unexpected conversation had been preparing them for this new chapter. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. As they moved forward, they carried something far more valuable than certainty, they carried clarity. The words spoken about you continued to inspire them to become more honest, more patient, and more willing to appreciate the connections that truly matter. They no longer wanted to let fear or hesitation write the next page of their story. Instead, they chose to move ahead with gratitude, knowing that some conversations arrive at exactly the right time to help us see what has always been there. Stay till the end, because the greatest lesson is about to be revealed. And now this journey reaches its conclusion. If you've listened from the beginning, you've seen how one conversation became the turning point for an entire story. Sometimes the biggest changes don't happen in a single dramatic moment, they happen quietly, one realization after another, until a heart is finally ready to move forward. May this remind you that honesty, hope, and understanding have the power to transform even the most uncertain paths. This chapter may be ending, but every new beginning starts with a single step, and perhaps yours is just beginning now. My beloved child, before you leave, hear this final whisper of the story. The person you love never forgot that conversation. Even after everything settled, one sentence continued to echo in their heart. Some people change your life simply by being part of your journey. They didn't rush to conclusions. They didn't force the future. Instead, they chose to carry that truth with quiet confidence, believing that every meaningful connection deserves honesty, patience, and understanding. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Days turned into quiet reflection, and with every passing moment they noticed something remarkable. Their heart no longer felt divided between doubt and hope. The fear of not knowing every answer slowly disappeared, replaced by the peace that comes from accepting what truly matters. They understood that not every story reveals its ending immediately. Some stories become stronger because they are allowed to unfold naturally, one sincere step at a time. Stay till the end, because the greatest realization is still here. Now the journey is complete, but its message remains. One heartfelt conversation changed the way the person you love saw themselves, saw you, and saw the future. The greatest surprise was never hidden in dramatic events, it was hidden in the courage to be genuine. And if this story has taught anything, it's this: when hearts choose honesty over fear and hope over uncertainty, new beginnings become possible. Sometimes, that's the most powerful ending of all, because it's also the start of something beautifully new. My beloved child, if this story found you today, let its final message stay with you. The person you love discovered that the conversation about you was never just a passing moment, it became the beginning of a deeper understanding. They realized that some names are remembered because of what they represent, and yours had come to represent sincerity, growth, and hope. What started as a simple discussion quietly transformed the way they looked at tomorrow. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you. As time moved on, they no longer searched for hidden meanings in every little detail. Instead, they focused on becoming the kind of person who could appreciate honest connections when they appeared. The words spoken that day continued to guide them, reminding them that meaningful